Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and may the force be with you. And I believe Darth Gregorius got his wish, but we'll get to that shortly. The imagery is beautiful on his back screen. I'm Palpatine. That's Senator Michael. That's Darth Gregorius. And I want to welcome Lothcat and iBeamer. We're going to get you in. Lothcat, if you wish to join us, the link is now there. Check it out. And we're glad to have you on with us. We are doing Ahsoka episode 6. I'm sorry, part 6. It is far, far and away. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah. All right. You guys excited about the episode?
Very.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't think you would be.
There were some things I wasn't thrilled with, but the wait to see Peridia was well worth it. There's some really neat things about Peridia that I was very happy to see. And of course, anytime we have the Dathomir witches, it's like a big grin on my face.
And we got 3, actually, maybe even
There
4
are
of them.
always 3, and I'll get to that later.
Yes, there may be quite a bit. So, Darth, we got some of your ideas already. Michael, what are some of your thoughts before we get into the episode?
Well, I guess I was expecting more on the planet. I go, oh, just a normal little planet, nothing really exciting. At least I didn't think so. But
Hey, it wasn't present day Earth, so there's that.
well, that's true. That's true. I know you were worried about that. So.
Very much. The
Wow.
Nodi were adorable, yes.
Oh, okay. Still at work. I apologize. Not sure I can jump in for a while still, but okay.
Well, maybe we'll see
You
in the
have
second half, man.
notes. Oh, my goodness. Folks. All right. I'm sorry. I'm a jerk. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and 6.
What did I miss then?
Notes. So there's actually a lot. Good evening, Alan. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
Maybe you'll
Alan.
be able to join us as well. I was following Alan's lead. I was doing quite a bit of research. I saw quite a few videos over the last few days. There is quite a bit. We'll get to the episode. There is quite a bit. I have some notes. First off, Peridia is a graveyard. Now, I want to see if you guys caught this. In season 3 of The Mandalorian, when Grogu and Mando see the star whales, didn't Grogu kind of reach out towards the star whale?
Yes.
All right. It is possible that we have now established a timeline. Okay. In The Mandalorian, that's when Ahsoka was going across. Possibly. So it may be, or at the very least, the timeline is pretty much Mando season 3, Ahsoka right now. So, because there's been a lot of questions on the internet. Maybe Ahsoka and Hu Yang was fueled by Grogu. And Peridia. So the first one is Peridia's a graveyard. 2 in season 3. 3, Peridia, ancient home of the witches before even time was counted. Okay. Got that. And I have 2 more points. Balin refers to a great power. Okay. Like I've been saying from the very beginning. And I have some ideas on who that may be or what that may be. But, folks, we'll get to it. I just didn't feel it. I just did not feel it. It just didn't have the resonance, but we'll get to that in a bit. All right, let's get to it. All right, we'll be going over the episode. I don't think we're going to be going scene by scene, but there was a lot of dialogue in this episode. It was heavy with dialogue. So we'll get to it. Michael, what's the first thing you want to get to in this episode?
Well, well, you kind of went through it. The graveyard. I mean, it was whales. I mean, it was they died up there when they were coming in. I mean, it looked to me like it was the bones, unless I didn't see it right. But I mean, they come back there to die, so it was kind of interesting, I thought. And I saw some stuff on the internet that the rumor is on some people's minds is uh, that Grogu is from that galaxy, because there's not many species, Yoda and Grogu in Star Wars. It's because they came from that other galaxy. And that's why Grogu in Mandalorian knew who the whales were, because that's how we got here.
Interesting.
That's what some people are speculating on there. So
And
I don't know which is right, but it's kind of interesting.
Okay, it's kind of interesting, but are you going to give an opinion on it? Are you going to lean one way or the other?
I'm not going to lean either way. I mean, I just thought it was interesting that it looks like that's where the whales go to die. That was just kind of interesting to me. I mean, they travel all and then they all go back home, but kind of like the salmon, they go back home to spawn or whatever, but then die. So.
And the rings did look like they were made of the whale bones, and that was
wait. You mean the planet, the ring?
Planetary rings, yes. So when the warp ship, when the hyperdrive ship was coming in over the rings, they were showing the bones.
Yeah.
You need a bigger TV, man.
Beamer says, interesting that they go there to die, but were willing to take Ahsoka. You would think that they would save the specifically for an end of life journey, not altogether. Huh.
Well, they brought Ezra and Thrawn's, I think it's called the Chimera Destroyer, to there. Yes. So they may not just go there to die.
That I would hope not, but yeah.
Well, in the very bit of the teaser, it says Ahsoka's inside the whale. Intergalactic travel, quote, intergalactic travel inside a whale. I have, in fact, done it all, says Hu Yang. And as the conversation continued a little bit more, Ahsoka had made a comment, and then Hu Yang says, the Force provides you insight, but it does not provide you all the answers. And they're talking about the stories from the youth. Ahsoka is like, I don't want to hear. And then at the very end, she says, please tell me a story. And ladies and gentlemen, on September 19th, 2023, the fourth wall, whatever, has been broken. It took, and I didn't get the date. Oh, darn it. Okay. On May 25th, 1977, Star Wars appeared. On September 19, 2023, we finally get In a Galaxy Far, Far Away. If we ever got the name of Star Wars, we finally got it in there. This is akin to September 8th, 1966 to November 18th. No, that's Generations. Oh my God. I don't remember when First Contact appeared, when we heard Star Trek used in the movie. This is the same thing. Almost the same thing. Greg, you wanted to say something. Your
yeah. So Alan can probably correct me on this if I am wrong, but my recollection is that Lucas always intended these to be stories from the journals of the Whills.
Yeah.
And the original novelization started with that. And, to me, it seemed like Filoni is like bringing that idea back in. What I caught from this is, wait a minute. What if that galaxy far, far away wasn't the one in the stories we were watching? Or, they also had stories from a galaxy far, far away. So I'm really excited, because I think this is the next expansion of the Star Wars universe. And I've been saying that for 6 weeks now. And, I just think it's going to explode. We're going to get new novelizations. We're going to get new characters. And, we may even go back to those times of the journals of the Whills. And they've been talking for years that the next effort from Disney was going to be the Old Republic. Well, what if it's like
The old.
older than that? So I'm actually kind of excited.
Oh, I'm surprised, Alan, because up until now we've been talking about you, dude. That's a little out of my league or level of knowledge. Could be a possibility, though. Alan, then I may be losing you on this episode. But okay, we already had this in Rogue One, the story of the Wills. I mean, it was brought back with the two former Jedi protectors.
Yep.
And I have to say that when we arrived in Peridia, it did give me the feels of Jeddah with those immense statues. But unlike Jeddah, they were still here. Oh, yes, yes, the scene. Excellent scene in the background. So, folks, the it moves forward. There's a lot to go on. I have had this theory of this force, this thing, and I think I know what it is. Oh wait, whoa, whoa. I while Lucas never intended a story to expand out of the galaxy he created, this has been a fun way to do it. Ooh, Filoni, Filoni. Okay, folks. For those of you that know hardcore Star Wars, I did a little bit of research. Oh, do you know what? Okay, about the episode. This episode 6, and I don't know if you gentlemen felt it, but seeing the different creatures in this episode, seeing that dog horse, what was it? What do you
A
call it?
howler. It was
A
called a
howler?
howler.
Okay, a howler. The way they animated this creature, at first it got a little annoying when it's like, wait a minute, what connection does Sabine have to it? You know, he said, "Oh, well, you abandoned me." I'm like, "Yeah, well, we've been together for like 3 minutes. What the hell do you expect? There was fire. I was getting shot at." The howler ran off, but came back, and they formed a bond. But I just didn't go for that. But
It seems they're
fine,
very easily tamed.
okay, fair enough. So then I feel like I'm gonna work. So all right, I can see that. All right, Greg. But as the relationship with her progressed, because she ran off, she was angry, and the thing was following her. That was cool. That
It was very. There
the
was some
way
very cute moments in this. Very Star Warsy moments in this. That was one of them.
I don't know, Michael being an animator, I don't know what his thoughts were, but after the scene when Sabine gets back on the Howler and through the rest of the episode, the animation for the Howler was really cool. And the way it was sitting in the back when those rock figures, it was acting like a dog. I don't know, Michael. What were your thoughts on
But
that?
yeah, it was. It was like a dog, or what else was I thinking at the time? Um,
It had like the bearing of a horse at times too. I think they tried to make it a little bit of both.
Yes. At first, I thought of it as, well, I called it a wolf slash dog mastiff. And then I changed it to a horse dog. So, but you call it a howler.
Well, I had the subtitles on, so I'd get some of the spelling right. And they
Okay.
didn't say the name of it, nor did they say the name of the creatures who are called the Noti, but they it was in the subtitles.
iBeamer says it shows that she has abandonment issues. The howler or or Sabine? But wants connections. And then Lothcat says, off topic, but the Shadow Jedi may show us the very beginning of the Force and how we move forward and get rid of all Empire needs. Okay, that was part of the conversation. We'll get to that. So,
Right now, I do want to back up a moment again
of
too,
course,
because
yeah,
one thing
remember,
we've
we're
been
just going all
discussing
across.
for the last couple of weeks was what was Sabine's plan, and the I think it became apparent that this was not a backup plan that was conceived by Ahsoka and Sabine, because Sabine was revealing to Huyang that she went willingly, so that wasn't something they had planned. That
yeah,
was
that kind of proved my theory out. Yeah.
so she was definitely thinking on her feet.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit in episode 5 and in 4 that they planned this or Sabine. I still had the contention in episode 4 that no, she did not. I think Balin is correct. She is blinded by her desire to get back with Ezra. But look, This is your ride or die for partner. We're learning that there's stuff to be said for that, but I didn't think that they had planned it through. I didn't see that, so
Okay.
I guess Michael and I were on that one. It's not that you're right or wrong. This is episode 6. I'm sorry, episode 6. What's going to happen in episode 7 and 8? There's still quite a bit. What? Be, we're not going to go beat by beat. Greg or Darth Gregorius, tell what do you want to emphasize, and then we'll go to Michael, and then we'll come back to me.
Um. Well, we get to Peridia, and yeah, it's the homeworld of the Darthomiri.
Stop swearing.
So, and we see, more Dathomir witches. And one of the things I thought was cool, several times we've talked about mythology, and how Filoni and the producers have brought mythology into this story. It was cool to me to see that they had 3 witches. The grandmother spoke. Throughout history, there's always been this 3 faces of the goddess, and they're the crone, the mother, and the maiden. So we saw the crone was the one to the mother's right, and the maiden was the one to the mother's left, who knew that Sabine was dangerous. So,
Yeah.
the other thing that I thought was cool that I didn't think about back when they showed the balls in their hands when they were in the temple at the very first episode, but here, the eye of the Stygian witches, from Macbeth. The trio is a definite mythological tie-in. Going back to Greece and Rome, and in pagan mythologies, the 3 faces of the mother goddess. So that was really cool. The other thing was neat is the grandmother's voice sounded so familiar, so I had to look it up. Claudia Black cameo.
Really?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Really? I had read that she was in it, but it didn't even occur to me that was her. Oh my goodness.
Yep. And I thought that was really good.
Go ahead, Greg. Read that, please.
It was interesting to Beamer that the Peridian Dathomiri, being from a different galaxy, were familiar with the Jedi, like on a personal level, not just what had been told them. Yes, definitely.
Oh, check that out. She didn't know either.
Yeah, and as Palpatine mentioned earlier, so Balin's not here for Thrawn.
No.
Oh no. It's bigger. Yes, and I may be able to pinpoint it. I've referred to it as almost like, because I can't describe it, as maybe a fountain where the Force actually begins, and I may have an answer for that.
I don't remember if I mentioned it before, but like the Splinter of the Mind's Eye book, before, when we only had one film and and the 2 novels, the whole thing was about the Kyber crystal, which was an abandoned plot line out of Lucas's original story. So I'm wondering if we're going to find something like that. They brought Kyber in as the crystals that power the lightsabers, the crystals that were used as to focus the main laser of the Death Star. But in Alan Dean Foster's sequel novel that takes place between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, which hadn't even been an idea yet, Luke and Leia are on a planet where this Kyber crystal is, and they meet up with somebody and they have to go find it, like on a quest thing, and then Vader shows up, he wants it too, blah blah blah. But anyway, I probably read that book probably 5 times between 79 and 81.
No, that is cool. I appreciate it. Guys, we're going to be going hardcore in this episode. I think Darth already is. I'm going to be doing it. Michael, what stuff? Now, I'm just posting in the chat room, folks. All this is the Gate World article on Claudia Black. That's all. So that's a little bit of a just sharing a little bit of the love right there with everyone. Again, I didn't know that was a damn good catch.
Yeah, she's done a lot of video game voices too. So I think that's why I picked the voice up. Even though I knew her from Farscape and Pitch Black as well.
And Stargate too. So.
Oh yeah, Stargate too. I hated her
Mhm.
Stargate character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael.
The thing that got me, well, it just kind of surprised me when we had the gold stormtrooper.
Oh, who was another cameo?
Mm-hmm.
Enoch, right?
Enoch. Yeah. So Enoch was played by Wes Chatham, who was in the Hunger Games, and he played Amos on The Expanse. Good evening, Tonya. And so I didn't pick up on his voice, but I did. I don't know that actor very well, other than The Expanse, his character in The Expanse. So, but I thought that was kind of cool that they had two cameos in this, and that was a really neat stormtrooper idea. The classic helmet with the gold face mask underneath.
It made him look so sinister.
Oh my God! Yeah,
it was just like, I don't want to look at this.
Phasma.
That was not fun.
No. So I suspect he's pretty badly injured under that helmet.
I read somewhere that may be the beginning of Phasma. Someone alluded to it. I didn't see it, but you never know. I will say that I was surprised. I didn't know that Ventress was part of this. So she's part of the three. The who are they?
The Dathomir witches.
Thank you. The D witches. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did catch that, Beamer. Yes. Thrawn's troopers all look great with the patched armor, and Enoch was awesome. I kind of thought that they were zombie-fied at first, and thank God they're not. They're just... Thrawn himself says, things have been a bit thin as of late, and I'm paraphrasing. Tanya says, my husband just said the same thing. Thank you. And have the comments fly away. I know they're on vacation at Disneyland and they're tuning in this episode. I thank both of you. Love your ideas. Let them fly. Folks, there were two significant conversations in this episode. One of them happened early on, right after the witches say it reeks of Jedi, and the probes, the three little balls, take Sabine to be locked away. Alan says he enjoyed that part. The armor was nice. Now, I'm going to go over this. Balin says, this is a land of dreams and madness, where children's stories come true. Shin says, I know of no such stories. He says, you weren't raised at the temple. Stories of this galaxy are considered folk tales, ancient past, long forgotten. And then she says, with good reason, sometimes stories are just stories. And then I didn't get all of the conversation, but Balin says, well, it represents, I guess it's where she asks, is this where she asked him, does she miss something? Oh, no, she asked that later. So he's talking about, look, the fall of the Jedi, the rise of the Empire. This is why we're here. It repeats again and again.
Yeah.
And it is not our turn. Oh, she says, is it not our turn now? And he says, absolute power is fleeting. What I seek is the beginning to break this cycle. That beginning is here, if the old stories are true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, check it out. We just got back from Galaxy's Edge and my new Ahsoka lightsabers. Way to go. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to be melodramatic. This is the lightsaber. This is my very first lightsaber. Can anyone recognize it? Is anyone able? And I love your background, Greg. You've changed it twice. So look, the blade may give a little bit of a hint. But
Mace Windu.
I'm so. Oh, is that your guess? Mace Windu? Yeah.
I didn't think his hilt was gold though.
Oh, dude.
Palpatine's hilt was gold
as well. Yes, these were made in a fine time. This is For those of you that know and don't know, it is Mace Windu's. This is the first lightsaber that I was given, which was really cool and neat. I'll show it off a little bit later, but only because Tanya was talking about it right now. She was raised to be more than a Jedi. That is a little bit later. So now Balin repeats it yet again. Look, they're here for something else. I'm not. I'm here for. He asks her later, don't you hear it? It's calling to me. Okay. He says that. Now, did you guys catch in the teaser when they're approaching Peridia that Morgan is almost orgasmic as she is nearing the planet? Did you guys catch that?
She's got it bad for Thrawn.
Balin even looked over at her and he's like, okay, well, whatever. But he looked down condescending. Did you catch that part, Greg? You did, right?
Yeah, no, she's got
Michael,
it
did you
bad for
catch that?
I
Thrawn.
didn't catch that. No.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else in the audience did, but I mean it was funny. I mean, she was getting ready. And I did think that was rather amusing, but I loved the way that Balin was just like, it's been a long time, woman. You got to calm down. But anyway, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I
I
mean,
digress.
she's also, I mean, not just Thrawn, but, this is the legacy of her people. So, I mean, for those of us with Irish in our families, I mean, my adopted family, I mean, it's like going to Ireland or Scotland for like my aunt when, years ago. Um, you know, it's, you know, it to her, it's their cradle, and, for the witches, that thread of life and ancestry is very important to them.
I suppose, Lothcat. Want to thank you for that one. I guess, yeah. But she is a witch.
You're
So,
getting a raised eyebrow, Lothcat.
yeah, yeah. But you guys can talk about the Lothcats all you want. You guys have your thing going. Now, after that conversation, basically, we have the moment where the Star Destroyer arrives. Now, I don't know if you guys caught it. I actually am claustrophobic and I have a great deal of problems with it. When Sabine was in her cell, she began to try to use the Force. And if you notice carefully, it seemed like it started to, her strength was kind of starting to give way and it was starting to come in on herself. And at first, when she turns around, I thought because of that little opening, the shadow of that which was coming. I didn't know it was a shadow. I thought it was closing in on her, and I was getting claustrophobic. And then, of course, what do we see? What's that behind you there, Darth?
Oh, I mean, I've been saying for, weeks now, we need these grand cinematic Star Wars scenes. And we got so many in this episode. And to see, the 3D model, the live action model of the Chimera coming in, all patched up from all the damage at the end of Rebels, complete with that funky squid like artwork on the bottom. It's like, oh my God, this is so cool. And, for me, the cinematic moments made this episode. We'll get into some of what I thought was weak about it later, but I mean, I the 45 minutes went by so quick for me, just because there was so much to see and look at.
Yeah, and folks, I apologize. I didn't even start the way I normally do. Folks, I need a little bit of help. Can you check either on IMDb or just look it up on the internet? I need the name of who directed it. It was not Dave Filoni. This is episode 6, part 6, Far, Far and Away, written by Dave Filoni, and I ask who directed by. The runtime on Disney Plus is 49 minutes, but as Darth made clear to me, that's not the runtime
Yeah, we
because
only
that
got about
includes
42 minutes and 44 seconds of story.
okay. Now, Michael is a former educator. He did lots of stuff in school, but he did animation. He shared with his kids quite a bit. Michael, when that Star Destroyer came in, did you get the feels on it, or were you thinking Oh man, how much work went into this?
I was thinking how much work, and
It did.
I was looking at the patchwork, and I go, oh my, that is an image map to die for.
Yeah.
I mean, it was detailed, and they did a good job with that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I was very impressed. I would have liked to have seen that on the big screen. I
That
really
whole sequence. Oh my god, it
the
was
whole
like,
sequence.
oh, and then like coming in with the docking bay and the Star Destroyer coming down so that
Oh, talk about claustrophobia.
the
I mean, them
docking
standing there.
so that yeah, so all the troopers are information, and it like the navigation to locate that Star Destroyer directly over the henge on Peridia, so that the little thing that stands out would like line up with the docking bay. Oh my god! Oh, that was a sci-fi fantasy Star Wars movie moment for me.
Oh yeah, no, it was something. It
Had
was
I been privileged or unprivileged to be there, my whole thing was, I hope the gravity generator doesn't give way. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, did you also notice the engines on that Star Destroyer were pretty well damaged too?
everything on that Star Destroyer was damaged. I mean,
Oh my god!
it was just there was weird stuff through the whole thing.
I wondered if how much they had to start with, like if they used some of the CG models from the crashed Star Destroyers on Jakku. Um, because this Star Destroyer was supposed to be like a little bit smaller than like the Avenger from Empire Strikes Back, but it was. I'm wondering what they had to start with because I mean, yeah, this was a lot of work.
I mean, it all depends how the original model. I mean, they have gotten more detailed now, so
Oh yeah,
even some of the old models that they may have used wouldn't have been able to do what they did with this one. So they may have started from scratch and built a whole new model with more detail.
it was beautiful. My hat's off to the art team for this one.
Let me pull back as an editorial commentary right here, folks. And I want to focus in on what Michael, Darth, Beamer, Lothcat, Alan, and everyone is saying about this right now. Folks, in the new movies, episode 7, etc., everything got bigger, gigantically bigger. And I think I'm stuttering when I'm saying that. It got to the point where it was almost ridiculous. At one time, a Star Destroyer was the most fearsome sight the galaxy ever knew. How long has it been since we've seen a Star Destroyer that evoked the original scene from Star Wars, or even the Empire Strikes Back when you see the Star Destroyer and then another Star Destroyer and then the Shadow and you saw the Executor? How long has it been since you've seen a Star Destroyer do that?
I thought they had a
That
couple good shots in Rogue One.
Yes, yes, but to evoke the fear of a Star Destroyer. Sorry.
Well, I mean, they had the one that was parked over Jeddah City.
Okay, well, all right, yeah, and yes, they did, but okay, I'm sorry. I'm being narrow-minded on my commentary, so it's fair. By the way, yes, I do want to thank both Michael and Darth that it is Jennifer Getzinger is a director. So I'm sorry. I guess in my excitement, I did not see who it was, but we want to give them a little bit of credit on that. So, all right, it was my commentary that look, how long has it been since we've seen the Star Destroyer and it was orgasmic? Basically, that's what I want to say,
I
not to
wouldn't say it
argue
was
with anyone.
orgasmic.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say it was orgasmic.
Well,
I
let me
mean,
tell
I
you,
got willies, but I mean, I didn't. Nothing else happened.
Willie's orgasmic. Oh man, I can't believe we're having this discussion right now. But
Well,
hey,
how
whatever.
the air stands up
Well,
on
you
the
know,
arm.
I mean, let's go off on another tangent too. I mean, it might not have been. It might have been she was very excited to see the three sister, the three witches. I mean, honestly, because as Roger said, that was her heritage, and that might have been what got her
Yeah,
all flustered.
but I do think she has it for Thrawn.
Well, she probably does, but you know.
I mean, it follows. I read that they really tried to make the ship and troopers look like they'd been through hell, especially all red taped and severe damage to both ship and troopers. I didn't catch the engines being damaged, but I got everything else. I saw on the sides of the Star Destroyer the damage. It was significant. It did look good. Lothcat says, Greg, for you maybe, but
Yeah, I
damn,
got
I got
chills.
chills.
Yeah, because I
I
had the
mean,
hair standing up on my arm the first time I watched it last night.
well, I had hair standing up on my actually no, I did not. And nor did I have a hair standing up on my head because, whatever. But that's okay. Good for you, kids. I'm glad. So
Kids.
I know I'm not trying to be condescending. Thrawn, Thrawn, Thrawn. That was interesting to me, where they had that happen, and I commented survivors without equipment, zombies. But obviously I was proven wrong.
Well,
So
I mean, they got a Star Destroyer full of equipment. I mean, the Purgle didn't crush it completely.
oh, that's kind of funny.
Oh, Elon Musk, interesting.
My nephew made me crack up when he said that Thrawn looked like an older version of Elon, but with blue face paint and red contacts. It's
He
actually kind of
does
funny.
kind of. Oh my God, yeah, Lars
Yeah, we got
Mikkelsen could
that.
play Elon Musk. Wow.
Yeah, that is funny. It's all right. But I don't believe Michael wants to comment on that right now. So
Not
we'll
right now, no.
yeah, we'll leave that one. He's 8, almost 9 years old. Perfect age for Star Wars. So, the great mothers, I salute you, he says. And he says, this is Enoch. Will need to begin the refueling or the whatever. And then I believe Mara says, I've seen the catacombs. Or someone said, I've seen the catacombs. It's going to take at least 3 rotations. He's like, okay, great. And then they say, but we have a loose thread. It's like, oh, yeah? What is it? And they say, well, we have a Jedi amongst us. It's like, that complicates things. And I'm paraphrasing the conversation. It says, well, Balin's skull kind of thought, General Balin skull? So it's clear, it's established. It says, I believe that we have use for her because of her desire to find Ezra and everything. And he's like, okay, yeah, I
Why
get
not?
it. I'm all right with that. So he's not stupid. He's driven
Oh
to
God, no.
win. Thrawn is dangerous. There's no
He's a
doubt.
student of art and history. You know, he studies his enemy. You know, he
Yes.
knows Sabine through her art from Rebels. Oh God, and just to back up a wee bit, it was so good to hear that voice again. He, I'm so glad they got him to reprise the role.
Was it Mads Mikkelsen?
Lars Mikkelsen.
Oh, I'm
Mads
sorry.
Mikkelsen, I think, is his brother.
Sorry. Mads was in Rogue One, I believe.
Mads was in Rogue One, yes,
Sorry.
and the Hannibal Lecter series.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Really
So
good series.
they move forward and they meet with Sabine. And apparently they're going to let her go. And she's kind of like, hey, so what's the deal? She says, no need for hostility. I shall keep your deal that you have with Balin. You helped my cause. I shall help yours. So, look, I just want to find Ezra. And he leans into her and he says, you gambled the fate of your galaxy on that belief? And another things are said and whatever. She says, you'd never understand. So, I don't know. But I did appreciate how Thrawn's like, woman, calm down. There's the deal. I'm going to adhere to it. I thought that was kind of funny in the way Thrawn did it. Lothcat says Thrawn, Palpatine is going to want a shouting Thrawn, Thrawn, Thrawn instead of bowing to Palpatine. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, woman. But she's given the wolf dog Mastiff, and she is warned by Enoch. Nomads wander these wastelands. They love killing each other for whatever's left. For whatever's left. Die well. And Sabine rides off. So that was kind of cool. Then they continue the conversation. She's on a fool's errand. And then Thrawn says, follow her. As promised, if she does, you and your master will destroy them. So cut and dry. and I
I thought
believe
that
they.
was a little interesting because Balin seemed very neutral. He wanted to get to Peridia, but he didn't really seem, he seemed a little bit more self-serving, like more like he was kind of using, um, what's her face, the woman,
Meredith
Meredith.
or Morgan. Sorry, it's
Morgan.
Morgan, right?
Yeah, and you know, then like he's willing to go after Ezra and Sabine, to eliminate
Okay.
oh excuse me eliminate them for Thrawn. So I thought that was a little odd, unless
Are you sure that's what he wanted to do?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you ask that, Michael? See it
Well,
through.
well, just because we were discussing about his real agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he has to have both sides around to get what he wants with this original power. Maybe he has to have the bad and the good, so to get what the other thing. I don't know, but I mean, it seems that he went to all that trouble to bring her and to convince her to come, and it seemed to me like he wanted her there for his own reasons.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Michael. Obviously, we don't know what the stormtroopers have been through, but I think it's funny that Beskar is the only armor that is worth anything in two galaxies.
Oh
I
yeah, no,
did
she was
think,
taking shots left and right. Although if they shot her in the leg,
okay, it answered my question though. I said, take the armor from her. They did, but they gave her the armor back.
yeah,
Now, folks, there was a scene in the fight that there were actually two scenes. I think they did as best they could, but I didn't like the way it was choreographed. There were moments that it looked like, okay, there is an actor fighting here, and it kind of took it away from me. I don't know if anyone else caught it, but it was still a good fight with the nomads. But she got hit in the head with one of the staffs.
yeah. It
It's
was
like,
the only scene that I thought looked cheap.
oh, you as well.
It had that like soundstage feel to it. It 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 looked way too choreographed. It looked like maybe the other
It did.
the nomad bandit people couldn't really see very well because of their helmets. It just it to me it was the only thing that looked poorly done in the whole episode.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny.
Well,
I don't
that
know.
might have been done on an AR wall too, and they still haven't perfected it 100% yet. So
Yeah.
that could be.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers the Sci-Fi Channel Dune adaptation where they were doing, huge green screen work, and it was they had sand on the sound stage, and the shadows didn't quite line up, and it had a little bit of that feel to it.
Guys, here's another slight editorial. Their work has been so good that we can pick out some of the lesser work. Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
well, I mean, it's like they've done a lot better, but like Andor had its moments where things looked like a set and looked like costumes instead of their uniforms. Book of Boba Fett had its moments where it didn't, it just wasn't up to par. But I mean, I'm also sure it's budget. I mean, we're talking, something for streaming that they're counting on people watching or new subscribers coming in, not $12 to $20 movie theater tickets or something that is going to have tons of advertising. So I mean, yeah, they got they got to spend the money where they spend the money. But I mean, it's like when you look at like something like this, and then you see a fight scene that looks like they're on a soundstage. It's like, oh come on.
Yeah. Did it take away from the episode? No, I just noticed it in that moment, but I was like, okay, move on. Look, they've been doing good stuff. I grant them that, but it it's just like, did we mess up here? Did we run out of time? Just something. It just there were some issues, but it is still good stuff. So I don't want to be completely condescending on it, but I need to back up, and I need everyone in the chat room, and I need Michael and Dart to help me out on this because we moved ahead a little bit. I think it was Morgan and Thrawn that had a conversation about him being a Jedi, a former Jedi, and maybe being or not trustworthy. And I think that's why they sent him out. Do you guys recall that? There was a moment that they're like, well, did he make a mistake? Did he help me out, guys? Was there a moment like that where Morgan and Thrawn were like, yeah, let's go send him out on this mission? I wonder why, if that's why they sent him out or sent him away.
I don't
I may be confusing.
know. I don't remember. There was a discussion between Morgan and Thrawn. I think I was too busy looking at the big map of the galaxy.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Um,
Yes, astrometrics on the Enterprise.
but yeah, no, there was some discussion there. Unfortunately, my recording of it, I couldn't figure out how to turn on subtitles. I'm trying to skip through it, but I can't really. I don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, I think they were talking about something at that point.
And I think that's why they sent him, or they spoke of it right after they sent him. It was somewhere right in there. Lothcat says yes. I don't know if you recall that, Michael. So when you said why they sent him, well, I think it's because they did, in fact, send him. So I don't know. It gets a little jumbled on my memory there because there was so much going on. Folks, I wrote so much the dialogue down for this episode because there was quite a bit.
Except that.
Yeah, except, well, there's other stuff I missed. They had the fight. We see Balin and Shin are following, and then the Chimera is being rearmed. Oh, it was right here. It was right here because
Yep.
they said, we just sent the two of them. Should we have just sent them alone? And then he says, two squads will suffice. So they have backup. So we know that. So
Yep.
I apologize. I guess I answered my own question. This is where she had the conversation. You abandoned me, you coward, and you'd better not bail on me later. And then the dog starts to smell stuff, then gets the water, and then now what? Then he finds the rock,
You're
and
embarrassing
it's a
yourself.
rock, and they are what?
Yeah, I love Sabine's comment. You're embarrassing yourself.
Oh yeah, I did not write that down. Yeah, you're embarrassing yourself. Yes, and those things are called what?
Noti. 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 I always
Oh yeah,
default to
someone said
the
that
Latin
earlier.
pronunciation. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think they actually said who they are,
I don't think so.
but
I
it's
think Ezra might have.
Noti.
I didn't hear you. What, Michael?
Ezra might have.
Okay. Guys, I tried to say this a little bit earlier, and I got lost in the commentary and other. Yes, thank you, Lothcat. Um, what I really appreciated about the Clone Wars, the series, is that I remember specifically around episode 6 being blown away by the Clone Wars in that every episode had a brand new planet or a brand new alien or something. It was just wow. And I really got that in this episode of Ahsoka. It rhymed with with stuff that came before it, I suppose. But yeah. Yeah, but that backup is to ensure that Ezra and Sabine don't come back. Not necessarily to support Balin. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I like that.
Interesting.
Lothcat says, yep, both of you are of the same mind. Okay, I was not of that same mind. So the Noti recognizes the rebel symbol on her Beskar armor. And this is Ezra. Do you know Ezra? And I guess there was a language barrier thing. They needed their Microsoft communicator, but it wasn't there. And then they move forward. And I think that's where she says, you did good. You did good. To what was it, the Howler? Or what's it called, Darth?
Howler. Yeah,
A
that's what they.
howler.
That's what
Okay.
it. Yeah, and the subtitles when they said it was making noises or something that they called it a howler.
Okay. Now here was another significant conversation. I'm going to ask you to bear with me. This is where Balin and Shin find what's left of the remnants of the
Yep.
battle. And Balin says she survived. And they talk about Ezra, and he says, no, he was trained as a Jedi. And like me, no, I trained you to be something more. And then they
Yeah.
start to reminisce. Do you miss it? The order. I miss the idea of it. Not the truth is not the weakness. There was no future there. And you see one here in this wasteland. He says, I see what once was a kingdom in this wasteland. They seem eager to leave this place, she says. And then he says, perhaps they flee a power greater than their own. Something calls to me. Can't you hear it? Something stirs here. Can't you see it? And she says, I see bandits. I like that line. And then he says, well, hey, no need to fear, no need to engage him. The enemy of our enemy is our friend for now. So that was another deep thing. And folks, here's where I'm going to go hardcore deep Star Wars. And I'm going to need your help on this. I believe that we are talking about the four deities that were mentioned in the Clone Wars: the father, the mother, the daughter, and the son. I believe that what he is looking for, or what is calling him, is Abeloth, the bringer of chaos. She's a benign being of immense power known as Mother, along with the father, the son, and daughter. Now remember, Abeloth wanted eternal, I guess, life, but if you're somewhat of a deity in the world of Star Wars, I guess there's limited. I don't know, but I believe that what is calling her. So, Darth, to add to what you're saying, the mother of all, Abeloth. Remember, they lived in the ethereal force realm of Mortis. I believe that's what is calling him, Abeloth is. So I appreciate it, Lothcat, that I got the history correct. I remembered something about that I couldn't place. It took me so long to find it. I finally did. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm betting that's what it is. Darth, you tell me.
When we were talking about this last week, I should have rewatched that episode of Clone Wars. Um, it's possible. I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's not necessarily her, but like one of the things that allowed her to transcend.
Oh, check that out. I've seen others mention that theory. Yeah, it could also be an origin to the D witches.
Dathomiri.
Sure, Dathomiri. No, we got it. We got it, Beamer.
We read
Michael.
typo. We've been doing IMing for a long time.
I don't know any of the mythology stuff, so this isn't that I
Yeah,
can't help.
kind of, yeah, but you do know quite a bit of Star Wars too.
But
You are
not
no
that
shin.
stuff.
You are no shin who does not know the stories of old.
Well, I didn't read any of the books, so that
Yeah, I didn't read a lot of the books, but I
Oh,
know.
that's right. This was in one of the books also. This is hardcore stuff, so I
yeah,
apologize.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
I like the parallels to like other mythologies. So
And,
that's where I like picked up some of the stuff from a long time
Darth,
ago.
you've been very clear. My opinion 2 episodes ago was on, again, we're not relitigating this. It is just the way of the belief system is being formed. and the way it works. Dude, your knowledge of mythology, dude. My daughter and I, forgive me, way off topic. We went to the bookstore today, and I pointed to my daughter. I said, see that book right there?" She goes, "Mythology? Yeah, you see the yellow one right there?" I was like, "Yeah, what? I have to buy that book." Which one? Is that one of those dummies books? That's right. I have to get one of those dummy books on
You get
mythology.
the highlights. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and from there, if you want to delve deeper into any of the mythos, there's so much out there.
Um, and thank you for that. So I guess we are kind of going beat to beat, but I'm down to my final page and a half, folks. So Sabine walks with the Noti to their Hobbit encampment. I'm sorry, this is from the Lord of the Rings on Amazon. I'm sorry. That's what I got. I was telling him, hey, stay on the trail, otherwise you're gonna get left behind.
Oh, I totally got that vibe too.
Yeah, I think it was unintentional, but yeah, I
I
did get that
totally
vibe.
got
Did
that
you,
vibe.
Michael?
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about Lord of the Rings and
I'm sorry.
yeah. See, I
That's
got him.
funny. There are no rules on that, but it's just kind of. I did get that vibe, which was kind of cool. Unintentional or otherwise. I quit. Look, Greg, in all 6 episodes, I've been talking about the vibe I'm getting from Star Trek, Battlestar Galactic, and all the others.
Well,
So it's good.
it's part of the charm of Star Wars.
Yes, Alan. Yes. Now, I didn't
Yeah,
know how much,
the
but
wolves.
Greg had.
The wolves. They're the name of the wolves, and I don't remember Loki's wolves.
Ah,
And
yes.
Alec, you can correct me if I misremember that.
So we get the stuff, and then she's there. Everyone's a bit leery of her and the Howler. The Howler's behaving surprisingly, and I think they offered her something. And she was like, "No, no." And then it happened. You heard the voice. I knew I could count on you. Though you should took long enough. And there was a little bit more in there, and he says, I can't wait to get out of here and stuff. And she says, look. Well, first, did it work? Did everything? He said, yes. She admitted that he did. Always have a plan, never a good one. And he says, the plan worked though, didn't it? She was like, yes. And then he wants information. They hug, and I see my friends found you. How did you get here? And he presses her a little bit on that. And she says, look, let's not talk about that right now. Can you at least give me the moment of finding you? And he relents clearly. But, he says, all right, come on. Talks to the note. He says, never stay in one place for long. Sabine, thanks for coming. Can't wait to go home. Beamer says, I get that they need the cliche of the helpless, weak tribe, Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, but I didn't really enjoy Ezra just hiding out with the nomadic people. I hope there's more to tell. I hinted about this at the very beginning of the episode, folks. Okay. Michael, your thoughts on that moment. Episode 6, we find Ezra. Maybe you can tell by my tone of voice.
Yeah, that's when the alarm goes off. Yeah. Anticlimactic, I thought. And she kind of just goes, "Who's this?" At least that's what I felt. It was like she didn't. I don't think it almost felt like she didn't recognize him at first. I guess it had been several years, and he's been
Probably about 12 years.
probably, yeah. So that's kind of what I got. Then I kind of think, was that really Ezra?
Well, it's not the same actor.
Well, I know that. Yeah, I know it's not the same actor.
He sounded close enough. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, where he's from. But I mean, he sounded like Ezra. I mean, he maybe practiced
I think he probably practiced. Yeah.
Like Ewan practiced to sound like
Hello there.
Kenobi. Oh, I didn't write down the actor's name, but yeah, very anticlimactic. Very. It was like okay, she's at the village. You know, as much as I wanted these moments, they could have revealed Thrawn in this episode and Ezra in the next, and had it be more of an impact. But yeah, I mean, just kind of hanging out, leaning against the caravan, just okay. These Ezra costume looked great. Um, Son of a gun has a better beard than I can ever grow.
Mhm.
The hair looked a lot like it was at the beginning of Rebels.
Yeah, he had the shaggy hair instead
Yeah,
of the buzz cut. Yep. But I mean, it could even have been longer after 12 years.
yeah. So he had to trim every once in a while. Who knows?
But I mean, for as little as we saw of him, I thought it was great seeing.
It was anticlimactic for me. It was a clear disappointment. I was hoping that there was going to be a little bit more to this. A little bit. I mean, this is like handing the ring to Frodo, and then 10 minutes later, he's dropping the ring in Mount Doom. It's like I understand Filoni has an incredible storyline. I mean, he's been writing this thing for a long time. And I figure that this Ahsoka story is just the beginning of a brand new way of telling Star Wars.
Yep.
But it was a massive, massive disappointment for me. It didn't have any feeling to it. It wasn't earned, I suppose.
The dialogue had feeling, but she's like looking around. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like there should have been more of the journey. But
Yeah,
we are time boxed. I guess what they're only doing 8,
yeah.
Yeah,
so we are time boxed. Maybe the script originally had more of a journey for her to get to Ezra. Um, you know, um, I
Yes,
mean,
I
I
hear you.
didn't mind so much that he was hanging out with the Noti. Um, but I mean, again, it kind of like felt like Gandalf hanging out with what were they called
The
in the One
Hobbits.
Ring? Well, they were pre-Hobbit in the One Ring.
Oh, I guess they call them proto hobbits.
No, they had a name.
Lame. I'm sorry. I don't recall. I sorry, Greg. Be dumb.
But yeah, I didn't mind it so much. I just thought, the reveal was kind of weak.
Greg. All kidding aside, I don't recall the name. I really don't. What they call the hobbits. I really do not.
It was something feet. All right, now I gotta look it up.
You do
Keep
that,
talking. No dead air.
and we will. Um, After that, we get the scene where the refueling is continuing, and then uh, the witches inform Thrawn that the threat of fate calls to us. Another one is traveling. A Jedi comes to us. Thrawn says, "That is unwelcome news. Is it by chance Ahsoka Tano?" And Morgan's pissed because she thought Ahsoka. Yeah, I
was
see that
gone.
smile. What was that, Michael?
Was gone.
Yeah, yeah, she thought. Ellen says, if you compare to last week, I can see why you can say you think it's a bit of a letdown for the same reason I was trying to watch it with a neutral state of mind. Yeah, look, I'm engaging the episode, but when it finally happened, I was just like, oh, okay. It just didn't do anything for me. I'm sorry. Having Ezra show up right there, I go back to Rogue One. When the Rebel fleet shows up, man, I jump for joy. So I'm sorry. It just didn't do it for me. So I apologize. But this Ahsoka Tano, yeah, I want to know everything I need to know about her. And they say she's traveling via Star Whale. It says, really? Hey, Morgan, if a Star Whale approaches Peridia, destroy it with prejudice. That's like saying fire with everything you got. That was kind of interesting. I did appreciate that. And he says, "Great mothers, once again, I will require your magic." And the witch's answer, "The threads of destiny demand it." Ah,
That was another. So after the kind of weak reveal of Ezra, this was back to a Star Wars scene. I mean, I'd say there was probably only 2 or 3 scenes that I found a little disappointing. The rest of it was so well put together. There's Beamer. Hey, man. Happy
Ah,
Thursday.
how you guys doing?
we're doing well,
Obviously,
young man. Thank you for joining us. I think in the transition from going to the chat room to maybe joining us, I don't know if you heard, I was talking about the final scene where they say Ahsoka's on her way.
right.
Okay. He says he wants to know all about her. And he says, if a star whale approaches Peridia, destroy it with prejudice. I did like that line. I do. I love this man. And he says, great mothers, once again, I will require your magic. And their answer is the threads of destiny demand it. Yes. So thank you for joining us. Beamer, talk to us. Share your thoughts. And I appreciate your comments in the chat room, brother. So by
Yeah,
all
no,
means.
no. I think you guys have covered most of it. Can you hear me? Fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
Sounds
making
great.
sure. All right. I think, like I said, I took notes as well. I think you guys have gone through most everything that I had down. Um, I uh, I don't know why it hadn't stuck out to me. Just back through a couple of these real quick, but um, I guess in my head I was thinking Balin Skull was younger during the Clone Wars, like um,
Oh, like maybe being a
Jason.
Padawan or something
Yeah,
like
like
that?
Jason's dad, whose name I suddenly can't remember.
Oh,
But but he wouldn't have been. He would have been probably closer to Anakin's age or old, and so the- you know, so Thrawn knew him as, hey, you were a general during the Clone Wars, weren't you?
So he would have been a full Jedi.
Yeah. So I just once he said that, I was like, oh yeah, he's older than I'm thinking he was. Kanan, thank you, Alan. So um
what are some of your other thoughts that we may have missed or that you wanted to add to?
just looking through here.
I know it's tough because we write a lot of notes, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Folks,
yeah,
in,
yeah.
in this episode, I had a page, and I had a half a page on the deity, okay, and then um, a lot of it was dialogue. Almost a full page on just those two scenes of dialogue, which I pointed out. So it just goes to show you. I think I probably would have had 4 pages at most, but there was a lot of stuff that happened in this episode. Beamer, your thoughts when Ezra showed up?
Uh, yeah, like I said, I agree with what you guys said. It was anticlimactic. Um, I think the dialogue part of it was fine. I love that she was like, I don't, let me have the moment, like you said. Um, but if you're going to be with a nomadic tribe, can't they at least be a warrior nomadic tribe? Something that is going to be a threat at some point. And maybe these will turn out to be, I don't know, but it's it was, let's stick with this same old tired cliche that everyone does of, you know the Jedi's with the helpless, the seemingly helpless people. And yeah, especially when it's so, you talked about the timetable that they're on. We know that from the time that Thrawn arrives and he starts loading up, they've got 3 rotations. So that means she has to find him. They have to figure out a plan to get back and whatever they're going to do, because they don't know Ahsoka's coming. So I get that he has to be relatively close, but just the witches and Thrawn, nobody knew he was that close. They don't watch the nomadic tribes that are around them. It didn't work for me, that whole little bit of it. So,
Well, I did note that when they let Sabine go, they told her that they
Yeah,
also
Ron
gave her the
did.
latest intel on where he's been. So I mean, she had a direction to go in.
that's true.
Yeah. And then Thrawn did tell her, hey, we're leaving in 3 days. Once this ship leaves, you're stuck here.
Not that he's planning to let her come back anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder why he told her that. That's interesting. And by the way, Michael says he'll be right back. So hopefully we'll have him back in just a few moments. But what did you think of this fight scene? Greg and I kind of were unhappy with it. I
Yeah,
mean, don't get me wrong, it was good, but we could tell it was not their best stuff.
yeah, yep. Nope, I agreed 100% with what you guys were saying. For everything else that's going on, especially after the last. I mean, granted, the last fight scene was Ahsoka. It was that whole battle leading up to them leaving the planet. So there's a little bit more at stake there, but it was meh.
Yeah, good way to put it.
Now, folks, I do want to say that while it may be meh, and I agree, I'm far from arguing. Folks, I don't know about you, but a lot of stuff happened in this episode. So a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
And this was far from a bridge episode. This was far from an ender or whatever. There was a lot going on. So much so that the Jedi lightsaber fight, which has been happening in almost every episode, went for what, 40 seconds? The firefight with the nomads went for what, about a minute, minute and a half? That was the action of the episode, right? That was it.
Yeah, no, they were definitely moving the plot in this one.
Yeah. And just because I'm nitpicking on that battle doesn't mean that I thought this was a bad episode.
No,
Far
not at
and
all.
away. There's, I don't want to use the word epic because I'm not there yet. And Beamer, I don't know if you ever heard me talk about it. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I have not had that epic feel yet from this series, Ahsoka. I'm waiting for that moment. It was interesting how they were flying into Peridia and you saw those statues. So it felt big. The whole concept of the distance for me, I get that. But look, I felt more when Anakin and Padme went back to the planet. There was more of a journey there than on this one. So I don't know.
Most useless scene in the whole saga.
Which one?
Anything between Anakin and Padme when they went back to Naboo.
Okay. Well, I remember being in the theater and a whole bunch of girls were giggling when Anakin was asleep. So I don't know. I guess it worked in Attack of the Clones. So I guess it was the most useless scene. Yeah, I'm not prepared to argue that one, Darth. But okay. Michael, you stepped away for a little bit. What are some of your thoughts on this episode? Because we have pretty much finished reviewing it. I think you heard when I was talking about the last scene, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the threads of destiny demand it.
Yes.
What
So
does it
having watched this with the subtitles on, so I get things spelled right, I loved that when Thrawn said magic, the subtitles spelled it with a K at the end. Magick. I thought
Oh,
that was clever.
Majik. Oh, really?
Yes. So yeah, they know that they're pulling in all sorts of stuff into this. I mean, it's obvious.
Okay.
But yeah, I like that they added the K, like the old world spelling.
Okay. That's good. So we saw the episode. In recap, what was your takeaways from this episode? We'll go with Beamer, please. I know I'm putting you under the gun again.
No, great plot move along. Set up for I didn't know there was only. I was hoping for 9 episodes, but I didn't realize there was only 8. So set up for resolution over the next 2 episodes for however far they're taking the story and setup of season 2, obviously. But clear there's some obstacles to overcome. It's gonna be fun to see where they go with it.
Darth.
Exactly that. They moved the plot. We finally get to see Peridia. It wasn't as I don't know if I was disappointed with what Peridia was, but I don't know if it was just not what I was expecting. I'm certainly glad it wasn't present day Earth. But it was kind of drab. But I loved that it was ringed. I loved that the rings were made of the bones of the dead Purgle. I loved the visual effects of like the intergalactic hyperspace where it had like color, like Star Trek, and seeing the witches and that they were the original witches and that they had endured for all these millennia. It was just the cinematics, them flying in, the what you call it, the Star Destroyer over the henge on Peridia, the long shots of the Noli, now I can't remember the name,
The Noti.
Noti caravan, the long shot of the bandits overlooking the valley where Shin and Balin were watching them. It had all of that. The Noti themselves felt very Star Wars. We get to see a new alien. They're cute. They're a little silly. They hide like rocks. So it hit all the notes.
Check this out before I go to Michael. Raven Reborn, and thank you for that, Raven. Or Reven, sorry. I apologize. Raven Reborn. Do you guys think it's possible that Anakin's Force essence reached out to Luke and warned him of the chaos to come, so Luke may come help everyone? Ooh. I didn't think about that because look, timeline is clear. Ahsoka was with Luke in the third season or second season of Mandalorian, and this episode probably established it. The connection we saw Mandalorian when Grogu looked at the star whales. Huh. I had Reven. I had not given that one thought. I appreciate that. Luke is very much alive, and he is
He
the
is.
Jedi. He is the last Jedi. Oh.
If they bring him back, though, they're going to have a lot of work de-aging again. I mean, not that it looked bad when they had him on Mandalorian, but that's a lot of CG.
I had not heard that idea. Michael, Beamer, guys, had you heard that one yet?
The only thing I had heard is some people were talking about de-aging him again for something else, but I didn't know what they were talking about, and I don't know if they were speculating or they had heard something. So who knows? I mean, that may be true.
Hey, folks, think about this. One of the best kept secrets akin to The Empire Strikes Back. Luke. Yeah. No one knew that Luke appeared at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I mean, what a shock. I mean, to keep that a secret in today's world. If they did it once, they might be able to do it again. I don't know. Beamer, your thoughts?
I think it would be a fun idea if they
No.
bring Luke into it at some point, probably next season. And as far as de-aging, I mean, even Mark Hamill himself, he's fine with someone replacing him at this point. So I don't know that they'd have to go that route. There's been mock-ups of like Sebastian Stan.
Oh yeah,
as a younger.
Oh, I
Luke
saw
and
that
others.
image, man.
So there are some out there that could pull it off.
Do
And
it,
be fine. So I don't know that they'll do the de-aging thing again. Since he himself has said, look, I don't care. I mean, I love the character, but it doesn't have to be me.
But it is cool when it is him.
Yeah, a lot of people were
Absolutely,
disappointed with the recast of Han Solo, the younger Han Solo, though. And at that, they kind of blamed the failure of the Solo film on that. And they kind of said they wouldn't do that again.
Who knows?
Maybe.
But I understand that the Lando movie's in the works, and Glover's performance was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But then just one thing, like you mentioned, seeing the planet and whatnot, even though it's coming across as kind of a wasteland, I did enjoy, like, one of the notes I made is just far as little things throughout is that, the planet they left from, the spot where they were getting the coordinates, you could tell was worn down and was old, but this is where those people came from, so that would mean Peridia is older, but those ones are obviously still, even though the witches the kingdom may not be there anymore, it's still upkept and they still have some power, and obviously the statue, so it's
and the gold was nice and gold. Yeah, I did note that too. I didn't get to mention it. Yeah, that was definitely a great point, Beamer. It's like it was like more of a cathedral, whereas the other one was more of a ruin. You could tell that it was being cared for.
There were 3 statues, right, when they're coming in as well.
I think there were several because they had a close up of one of them.
There was at least 3.
It was out the windshield, so I didn't use that as a screenshot. But
I will tell
in this scene, there's 3.
I thought there were 3. Yes, that's what I caught. Not that I was counting, but there was some imagery when Sabine was out in the wilderness. There were rocks that they looked like statues to me.
They could have been.
It could have been part of the old kingdom. So
like the Argonath.
Yeah. Now you beat me to it, pal. The imagery right now reminded me of the Lord of the Rings. When they're entering the land of Rohan and all that stuff. It was pretty good. So I did get that feeling. It felt real. So.
I looked up the proto hobbits. They were the Harfoots.
Yes, sorry, you're right. The Harfoots. Yeah. So, as far as my thoughts on this episode, you guys heard me give my points earlier. I was impressed with how well the story moved. I don't know if I lost track of time, like it wasn't another episode, and we commented recently, but other than the letdown of finding Ezra, folks, this story moved very well. This was good. It had my attention. I liked them. I appreciate it. And just because the story's not going the way I expected it or necessarily wanted it to, that doesn't mean it was a bad episode.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's just, for me, yeah, Greg, for me, this is how much attention I'm giving to this. And folks, this is why we might have been a bit disappointed. Because in our minds, we were expecting something else. I don't know if you were. Okay, we saw it. It was anticlimactic. When were you expecting Sabine or for us, the audience, to discover Ezra? I was not expecting it in episode 6. I was probably even thinking it might even be at the very end of
that's what 8. I was expecting too. I also kind of expected them to actually find some sort of city, and that Ezra, was doing his Aladdin thing again.
As in Rebels episode 1?
Yeah.
Sort of an underground character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment and give a quick shout out to Aisha Kerr and Jay Simmons. Thank you for the like, folks. We appreciate it on Facebook. Thank you. The old men appreciate it. Michael, what'd you think?
I just wasn't too thrilled with the episode. Honestly, it just might have been the mood I was in. But only fun I had was, when you brought it up, looking at the ship and the image maps. that was my fun of the whole episode. Was thinking, ooh, look what they did there. And
oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, the rest the rest just didn't do anything for me, to be perfectly honest.
So was this just
Yeah.
Or was it like, oh man, I'm hating it? Was it a
No, it
painful
wasn't hated. It
episode?
just wasn't. I wasn't excited. And then with
Wow.
the letdown of how they brought in Ezra, that just kind
Oh
of
yeah, we're all on the same
that,
page.
that did that honestly that did it for me. And I was going, oh golly, I might give it a C plus and they'll kill me.
Wow. Okay.
So it's just the way I felt. I mean, I think I was expecting more because we've only got 8 episodes, and I was just expecting something else. And that's
It'll be boring if we all agreed.
That is true. That is. So, folks, I do want to remind everyone that if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. Let us know that you wish to join us. I want to thank Beamer again. I know you're working, brother, and I appreciate it that you're joining us. This is cool. This 3 weeks in a row, dude. You're in. You know this, right? You're part of the family. All right.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. You are part of the. Well, we're called Padawans, and I'm resentful of such, but it's all right. I thank you for joining us and
Who
for
said
every Star
that?
Wars. I'm sorry.
Who said Padawans?
At the very beginning, you missed the comment. There it is, right there. Good evening, my Padawans. Okay, I gotta take my drugs. Sorry. I apologize. Oh, and I'm getting text messages, so everyone thinks I should be done right here.
Yeah.
Michael, they have medications to help with excitement. Oh, well, that's
You're
funny.
getting both eyebrows raised at that one.
Yeah, that blank stare for Michael. I don't know.
you know
I
what
think
happens when that happens.
I think he's thinking medieval stuff. I thought about that earlier in the day for someone, but that's all right. So
Sure you
that's
did.
cool. What do you got? I'm sorry.
I'm sure you did.
I had appointments today, brother.
I know you
My
did.
case. Get off my case. So, all right, folks. What are we thinking? When does the preview show up for the next episode?
Is it tomorrow night?
Oh, it is, huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
I don't know. I never see them.
I try to avoid them now too. So
Yeah.
I did see
I
the
mean, I'm in
preview
for it now.
for episode 4, I think it was, and that was it. I'm glad I didn't see the one for 5, and I'm glad I didn't see the one for 6. Beamer, I've talked about this, that I'm an old teaser guy in that when the episode ended, next week on whatever. And I've missed it in the new Star Trek. I've missed it in the new Star Wars. It's not that it's bad, and I'm okay with it. It's okay because I thought Netflix had gotten it wrong on dumping the whole series because it doesn't allow for these conversations.
Yeah, no, I love that so many streaming services have gone back to doing, if not everything, they've been going back to doing a weekly release.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It gives me time to digest. I don't have to sit and power through a bunch of stuff. I can do go through, bite it off, and digest it.
And you can back up, and if you got time, rewatch.
Well, yeah, so
couple and
because these don't come out. They come out. Is it like 8 or 9 o'clock my time on Tuesday night?
Yep.
I work until 9 o'clock. I go home. I don't usually watch it that night, so I watch it Wednesday morning. And then last week and this week, I had the chance. I was able to watch it again this morning in preparation of joining you, esteemed gentlemen.
You mistake us for esteemed gentlemen.
yeah, you haven't done your research like other people did.
Actually, Beamer, we had a guest, and Michael will tell you. It was a wonderful story. Before he went on, he told us, I did some reconnaissance on you guys. We're like, sorry.
Yeah.
The guest actually told us that.
Oh,
and
that was you and Jag, right?
Yeah, both Jag and I were like, we're sorry. It was funny. And you know what? It was a great interview. He was awesome. Michael, who was that?
That was Dominic.
Dominic, yes, he's on the Ark, and he's really cool. He's out there in Serbia. He actually, we were lucky with all of them Serbians, folks. The Ark is coming back. We don't know anything else, but we will be doing that as well next year. But every month we're having a guest, so just keep that in mind on the Ark.
We hope.
So we hope. Yeah, I know, huh? With this strike. Way off topic. Did you guys hear today that apparently quite a bit of progress has been made in the writers stuff, that
Good.
a lot of ground was done, and apparently there has been significant progress, so much so that they've announced it, that they've made significant progress. Wow.
Nice. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Michael, I told you before November, remember?
Yeah, you did say
If
that.
they can get going before November, then we'll have stuff for the February sweeps. But anyway, I says this way of talking, but I never understood how Anakin could have a Padawan when he was not a Jedi Master. He was a Jedi Knight. Actually, ooh, damn good question. Hold on. The character of Ahsoka is a good one, but that one big plot hole kind of ruins anything she is attached to. Was Obi-Wan Kenobi a Jedi Knight or a Jedi Master when he was training Anakin?
Knight at the end of episode of Phantom Menace, confer upon you the title of Jedi Knight. The Council does agree with you taking Anakin as your Padawan. I do not.
Okay.
Okay, so a knight can have a Padawan, not necessarily a master.
Now remember, you cannot be on the council, Anakin, without being a Jedi Master.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I guess there were a lot of Jedi Knights that were not masters per se, but yeah, you're right. Thanks, Beamer. That's kind of what I thought. I thought Obi-Wan was a Jedi Knight. He would call him Master, but yeah.
Not sure how. Like I said, I have no idea how widespread that was, but in Obi-Wan's case, at least, he had just become a Jedi Knight
Yeah.
when he got Anakin.
And boy was he right. What's his face? Yoda. I know I just called Yoda what's his face. I'm so sorry.
Oh, he'll get you for that.
Disturbed I am. So sorry. All right. Well, look, I don't know what to expect for next week. Haven't seen the teaser. I won't, but I am looking forward to it. Folks, we are down to 2 episodes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Don't forget, this program is on at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and everything in between every Thursday night. We will, for the long haul, whenever there is a Star Wars anything, we will be on Thursday night. It's our Star Wars night. Looks like Star Trek is going to be on Saturdays, and that is staying. So we have Lower Decks this Saturday as well. I don't know if we have any real guests scheduled. I do want to announce that for Sports Talk with the Guys, we do have a significant author and a guest that we're going to pre-record the interview on Saturday. So I don't know when that interview will go out. They've written a book, which I should have the information on, which I don't right now, but that will be sometime next week. And the book is going on sale like this week. So the author will be joining us for the first time ever, a pre-recorded interview on this network, which is really funny. We don't do that stuff. Lothcat says maybe Anakin was jealous. That's why he took out the console. He wasn't on it. I yelled out in the theater, "You effing coward!" when he took out the younglings. I know I shouldn't have, but he was a coward. So, your thoughts, the scores, folks, for this episode. Unless you guys have some other comments, I'd love to know what your grade on this episode would be. Michael,
I said mine already.
are we going to stick with the C's?
Yes, we are.
So seriously, a C or a
There's
C plus?
C plus.
Okay. Darth Gregorius.
I'm gonna give this one an A minus. I thought the cinematics are great. The plot movement was good. Just those, two little things kind of ruined it for me.
So this was just short of a really, really tight, well done, except for the stuff we talked about, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Lothcat, need your comments. Alan, need your comments. Mr. Beamer.
I'm going B plus, maybe A minus. Right, right up there.
Aisha, if you were watching it, would appreciate your comments. I don't know if we still have Revan with us. I have the Revan lightsaber, but I think I already showed that one off. Before you were with us, I did. This is Anakin's. This is my first lightsaber. This is really one of my favorite ones. This is cool. And I was lucky. I was given this one, and then I received Darth Sidious shortly thereafter. So really happy with that. Um, Lothcat, did we get your score,
Yep.
Alan? Oh, there it is.
We got
Told
Look
you you
Cat. I
weren't
don't
gonna
know if
like it,
Alan's still on.
but an A minus. Wow. You know,
Like-minded again, Lothcat.
Beamer, what kept it from being an A minus? I know you said, A minus, but more B plus. That's how I took it. Why? Just because you have to come up with a score real quick and shut me up?
What? The whole end scene, not the whole Ezra Bridger part. There,
Oh, it was enough,
like I
huh?
said, the dialogue was great. Didn't mind that at all. But just I'm tired. I really just get tired of the helpless nomadic. It's such a trope that's overdone.
Oh,
And
hi,
then
Greg. Oh, I mean Beamer. Every time I hear
And then-
trope, I think it's Greg.
then and then it was just little things that could have made it better. But
I just wanted a little bit more insight on that. The episode was good, but knowing this whole damn thing was built around Ezra, it was enough for me to knock it off the A minus. I'm with you on that, Beamer. I am. Folks, this was a good episode, but knowing where we were supposed to be, I, I I'm probably going to eat these words later, but I'm actually good with the B plus. It was the buildup of buildups, and it's like, hey, folks, Mount St. Helens is going to go, and then poof, it happened, but it was just a little poof.
Especially after Thrawn. I mean, the way they reintroduced Thrawn was so spectacular.
Yeah.
with Thrawn, the one thing that I didn't like about Thrawn, and this has nothing to do with Lars at all. He was, like you said, great to have him back. He was fantastic. I thought they learned their lesson from Kenobi when the Grand Inquisitor didn't look right. That I thought they would do some sort of prosthetic or digital elongating his head, like they had him in Rebels, But
Look at the slick back hair.
yeah, but I mean, other than that, he nailed his own character. So,
oh, that's funny.
I think
That's right.
I think I would have preferred the way he delivered Thrawn's lines to hear that voice more than have him be the tall, really slender.
I didn't even mind that he
almost
wasn't slender because it's been a number of
vampiric-looking.
years and he's probably been through some stuff. I can understand him putting on some weight.
Oh, that
Yeah,
might be
maybe he
Thrawn.
was eating all the troopers that they couldn't send after Ezra. But yeah, no, I mean the way he was depicted in the novels, I mean he was I always saw him the way he was depicted in the cartoon, very vampiric looking.
Speaking of, have you guys seen? I came across this weekend. There's someone out there that's doing the Heir to the Empire story on YouTube. They've got like computer animated. They've got through like chapter 28 done or something like that.
What?
They've been doing it over the past couple of years. It was really it was it's the dialogue from the books, and they've skipped a little bit of stuff, but it was really good.
So
I
it's going to
gotta
be
go
like a
find that. I
digital
love-
animation.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll see if I can find it real quick.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
they've been doing it, like I went back and watched everything that they've got, and they've been doing it for a couple of years, but the most recent episode just came out like a week or two ago.
Oh wow. Okay, that would be of interest. Let me tell you, Beamer, I don't think you caught it, but when you referred to the Obi-Wan series, I know you didn't see the way Darth reacted. I thought it was absolutely awesome.
All right, I'm bookmarking that. Thanks, Beamer.
Darth believes that Obi-Wan was a flawless classic piece of artistic
I
storyline.
loved Kenobi. Don't get me wrong there,
Don't
Greg.
worry, you're still
I'm
friends with
just
this Beamer. You don't have to say that.
I'm just saying that the Grand Inquisitor did not look right.
No, he didn't. Um,
Did you want to add to that, Michael?
No.
but
I'm not.
I thought Obi-Wan. I thought the Kenobi. I thought the Obi-Wan show was better binged than watched episodic. It kind of when
It,
it wasn't
I think it
very
worked better
paced,
that way as well. Yes.
it wasn't paced well enough to be episodic.
Mm.
I was actually rewatching it this week.
Good
So
for
the
you.
channel that's doing it, the one that's doing that it's just Star Wars Heir to the Empire, and then they have the different chapters.
Darth
And
Angelus.
Darth Angelus, however you say that, is the one that's doing it.
Cool. I'm bookmarking that.
Star Wars Heir to the it says Heir to the Empire audio. No, not the audio book. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Oh, Star
Yeah,
Wars
it looks
Heir to
like
the Empire.
they're
So it's
like
Darth.
they do the
Angelus.
chapters in about 5 to 10 minutes.
So it's it's the dialogue. You don't get any of there's none of the internal stuff. So if you've read the books recently or remember reading them before, then which I know, Michael, you said you hadn't read any of the books, so you may not have interest in it anyway.
No.
But you don't get any of the internal stuff. So you kind of have to piece that together. But
I'm going to go to the screen on this. Is this the one that we're talking about right here?
Yep.
Looks like it. Yep.
Okay, these are the different chapters. What is this? Is this the entire thing?
No, well, actually, it might
'Cause
be
this
that
is an
one.
hour 50 minutes.
Yeah, that one probably is. See, I didn't find that one until I'd gone through each of the individuals.
Oh, okay. It's about right. But that's fair. Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to check this out. This is cool, folks. There it is. It's dark here. I'm going to put the link in the chat room for those that are able to find it and those that are not. I'm going to have to check that out. I own the book, Heir to the Empire, but I put it down after about 80 pages. This is the first time I ever admitted on air. Timothy Zahn is luckiest guy in the world. So
anyway, I know you guys were trying to wrap up, and I actually need to go too. So
not at all. I think we're at that
Thanks for
point.
dropping by.
Yes, again, and I hope you're able to join us again. And young man, if you want to join us for anything else that we do, you're obviously more than welcome. But beyond that, this is cool. Appreciate your commentary in the chat room and when you join us. It's good stuff.
Definitely.
So we are going to go ahead and start finishing up. This is episode 5, but we reviewed episode 6 of Ahsoka. We only have 2 more because, as you know, there were 2 episodes that debuted. This was Far, Far and Away, part 6. As I mentioned, this was a good episode. I'm sorry, Michael. I mean, you're not throwing the series away, right? I mean, you're still in, right?
Oh, I'm gone.
Okay. All right. There it is. It's done. All right. So, all right, folks. I guess that's it. Don't worry. Head on over to ndbmedia.net and check out everything we have going on. There's a lot of stuff going on the network, and we thank
Remember,
you.
like, thumbs
Please.
up,
Yeah.
hearts.
Yeah.
Drop comments if you're watching after.
We do read them.
Watch 'em.
Yeah, we do read them and we do comment after the fact. So we thank you. Again, we appreciate the likes and the subscribes. Aisha, Jay, thank you for that. And for everything else in the chat room. Folks, your comments in the chat room make these programs. Without them, it sucks to talk to yourself. So it's all good. All right, we're out of here. We'll be here next week.
Looking for more co-hosts.
Well, we're always looking for people that want to share their opinions. So it's good stuff. And we'll see what we'll do. So in the meantime, folks, fair skies, fair winds, time and tide, and may the force be with you. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.